Here we go. Good morning. Tony Pellegrini here. Just wanted to reach out and connect with listeners across campus and throughout Southern Utah who are interested in teaching and learning at Southern Utah University. We have created this particular podcast series to celebrate how we teach and how we learn here at SUU. Weekly, we address faculty members, students, alumni to ask them what are some of the cool ways that they teach, some wonderful ways that they engage in learning, and how they improve their teaching and learning while they're on campus. Our first participant, person that we're going to converse with today and reflect with is Katie Groves. I've known Katie for the last 2 or 3 years here at SUU. First as a student. Unfortunately, I did not get to have her in class, but she was a student worker here in the College of Education. And I've just been impressed with Katie's enthusiasm and love of learning. You can see that in her, in all that she does. And so I just wanted to reach out to her. We've got Katie here this morning, and she's an alumni. She's graduated from SUU. And wanted to start with Katie and just ask her. I wanted to go into some detail with her about how she learns, what she does to be so enthusiastic about learning. But Katie, let's start with just a little bit of background information from your perspective. Can you take a couple of moments and introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sounds great. Well, my name is Katie Groves. I am from Cedar City, Utah. I've been here my whole life, but I love it. I graduated from the local Cedar High School in 2012 before attending SUU, which is my hometown school, of course. I graduated in 2016 with a Bachelor's of Science in History and an Associate's of Applied Science in Paralegal Studies. I did this because these two fields were something I was passionate about and something I wanted to go into. However, instead, I was offered a position in the College of Education at SUU as a budget manager. And because I loved this place so much, I couldn't say goodbye. And so I was the budget manager for a year. And then recently, I just got a promotion to college business manager. It's a great place to be. And then I was going to say, I love to read. I love to write. I hope to be an author one day. I'm a forever learner and an avid traveler. And I think that sums up me pretty well.
Wonderful. Katie, a lot of what you shared, I want to jump into a little bit deeper if you don't mind.
Okay.
Love to read. Where did that start? How did that start, and how does that benefit you? How has that helped you as a learner both at SUU and Cedar High and throughout your life?
I was going to say, I've been reading since kindergarten. My mom got me into it when I was little, and ever since then, I've always had a book in my hand. I used to spend my summers going to the library, and I'd check out 20 books for a week or two and then go back and get 20 more. And I've always found that reading, even something like fiction, it doesn't have to be real life, it always can teach you something about life. And that's the most important thing in my life, to me. I was going to say, I did honors English and AP English in high school because I loved to see what books could teach me, and that taught me how to deconstruct them and get the deeper meaning and the theme. And it definitely helped me in college, and it teaches you how to write, which is one of those invaluable skills you'll always need. And so reading's always been there.
Cool. Talk to me about that balance that you see in your life between reading and writing. How does that help you in learning to be able to enjoy those 20 books? I can just see that picture. I can picture you walking home from the library with 20 books. But talk to me about that, or us, about that balance between reading and writing. How does that help you engage and expand your learning?
That's a good question. I've never thought about it that way. Well, I was going to say, the first thing that pops to my mind is in high school, we were charged to read this book called Autodidactic. And it was actually written by a local Utahn. and was endorsed by the president of SUU at the time, Michael Benson. But it's about this guy who served an LDS mission, but he had to learn a language and he could not pick it up. So he started writing down every day a word he didn't know. And so he'd go and he'd research it and he'd look it up, and then he'd be able to integrate it later into his conversations. And just by doing that every day, he learned this entire language just by picking up a single word a day. And so he challenged us to start learning each word. So anytime we didn't know a word, to take a second, stop, look it up, make sure we understood it, and then continue on. And so I think that was really helpful. And then in writing, this balance, it taught you how to integrate these words into writing as well. I don't know how to go beyond that.
That's okay. No, I love that. I love that. Another point that you'd mentioned a couple moments ago, a very strong word that I love is passionate. You're passionate about legal studies, about history. How did you discover that passion of history, of legal studies? How can our learners, that's a human emotion. We're human beings. We have emotions. Passion is one of those. How can our learners like you follow your example and discover that passion in their lives?
Well, for me, it was, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So when I got into college, I said, okay, I'm just going to take several different classes in different fields and see what stands out to me. And I took an ancient Greece class from a professor that just really resonated with me. And so he just stuck with me and made me passionate and made me think about history and how to apply it to our day. And I loved that. And the same was with the law. I took one class, the professor just inspired me to look into it further. And so I just continued on that path. And it's just, you start learning about life and experiences and how to apply both past to now, and how you can, law was huge about how you can change your life and impact the society around you. And so I loved that.
Cool. Very, very cool. Again, we talked a little bit about emotions. And as I said before, we're all humans. We all have emotions. How do you step out of your in your learning, how do you step out of that comfort zone just a little bit, not too far that you get concerned, but how do you step out of that comfort zone? I don't know that history or legal studies may have been topics that were really within that comfort zone. You had to experiment and go into those a little bit, but how do you discover useful information by getting out of that comfort zone just a little? Not so much that it scares you, but just enough that you can say, hey, I'm learning. Does that kind of make sense? What do you think?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think how to answer it.
Okay.
It's always hard stepping out of your comfort zone. My high school actually really prepared me for this, was they taught you how to kind of just go beyond what you already know and do it. And for me, the big thing that taught me to go out of my comfort zone was I was my high school salutatorian. So I was required to speak in front of 1,000 people in my graduation, which I am not a speaker. And so that was terrifying to me. So it got the first step and I had to get up there. And so I think it prepared me for when I went to college, that in order to get those truly valuable life experiences, sometimes you have to take that first step. And as soon as you take your first step out of the comfort zone, your comfort zone expands a little bit more. And so then it's not outside your comfort zone. Like my history class, it was an upper division class and I was a freshman, but I was like, oh, I'm going to take that. I'm going to see if I can learn something new from that. And once I stepped out of that boundary, it was a lot easier just to continue on and keep taking it. And so, and does that answer your question?
That gives some wonderful guidance to those who'll be listening to be comfortable in taking some risks, some calculated risks. Hey, I'm a freshman, but I can take that upper division class. I can give that a try. What great enthusiasm. Katie, any last, first of all, thank you so much for being willing to share. I've learned from you over these last few minutes. It's been a pleasure for me to be able to see what's past in you is prologue to your future. Any last words of wisdom for your peers, for freshmen through seniors at SUU, to be able to be successful as I think you're successful?
I have two pieces of advice. One, travel. Take advantage of any opportunity you can to get into the world, because that experience will change your life and will open your horizons. And two, I always think of this when I'm learning, and be a forever learner. But Socrates said, "For I know one thing, and that is that I know nothing." So always keep learning, because you do know a lot, but you can always learn more.
Wonderful. Katie, thank you so much for your advice, for your perspectives, for your enthusiasm and attitude. You're a great asset here to the college and to SUU. For those of you who are listening, we'd like to invite you to listen to future podcasts. We're going to be, again, addressing teaching and learning with teachers and students and alumni here at SUU. Thank you very much. Everyone make it a good day, and we'll see you soon around campus. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.